So let me actually rewind 2 years ago now when I first came across starting a social media marketing agency as a business model. Now, back then, I was kind of confused about what steps I should take. I mean, I had a program that I could follow, but I mean, that program really did so much, right? When you buy into a program, it gives you a lot of information, but you still have to kind of figure it out on your own. And I wish what I'm about to tell you was told to me back then when I first started, because today I want to give you a simple step-by-step process that you could take in order to get your agency to 10K per month. And this is the exact process I would take myself in order to get my agency to 10K per month if I was starting again. It's a very simple process that anyone can follow, and I promise you, if you stick through this video and you watch it step by step and you actually go ahead and take action, because I can give you the information, I can give you all the scripts, templates, literally anything, but if you don't take action on it, then obviously nothing's going to happen, right? So I want to make sure that you watch this video, you got your journal or something to write on, you got pen and paper out, and you're actually taking notes and actively listening to what I'm about to tell you, because this video might serve as the one and only guide for you to go from 0 to 10K per month in a short period of time. So I've got a couple notes here just to kind of make this video a bit more structured. The first thing I would do is do some market research. Now, if you watch any of my other videos, you saw how much I glorify market research. And the reason for that is because I feel like this step is highly misunderstood within our industry. The reason for that is because people think market research is simply going on YouTube and searching up like the best niches, top 10 niches to go for, or the golden niches that no one heard of, or just basically a little bit about like how to find a niche. That's one part of market research. The second part you should take, so once you actually find your niche, and the way you find your niche is you look at what everyone else is doing and you go completely the opposite way, because that would just make it easier for you to stand out in the long run. But let's say you have a niche in mind and you're sure that you're going to go after it. Now what you actually need to do is go inside that niche and do some research on the people within that niche, meaning the people you're going to be targeting with your client acquisition systems, how they think, how they feel, what they've done before, any problems that they might have encountered in the past, what vehicles they have tried in the past. And the way you gather that information is through what I like to call primary and secondary research. Primary research is you directly going out to them and asking them different questions. In the description below, or I'll comment on this video with a list of questions that you could ask. But you basically ask them these questions and you try to find out sort of a first person perspective on how it is or how it feels to be like a business owner in that niche. Because understanding the market is important, but being able to understand the people that build up the market is way more important than anything, right? Because once you find all that information, you can then use that information to your own advantage to build up your offer, to write out any copies that you need to write out, to build up your website, to be hyper targeted towards your target audience. And literally anything you do after you do your market research is going to be based off the foundations that you have found out. Now, if you can't, to get primary research, just before we get to the second point, I urge you to just go on Facebook groups, search on the search page there, your niche, try to find different groups of where your target audience is hanging out in, go into that group, then direct message as many people as possible, asking them if you could quickly interview them. Now, the interview doesn't have to be on a Zoom call, it can be through text messages. You just need to ask them like 5 different questions in order to basically get your primary research done. The second way you could do that, if you don't want to do that, I highly urge you to do that, but if you can't, then just do some secondary research. Go on things such as Reddit, go on things such as Quora, go on answerthepublic.com by Neil Patel, and just see what kind of questions your audience is asking about. Let's say you want to offer Facebook ads, or you want to offer Google ads or TikTok ads. What type of questions are people asking about these vehicles, right? So that's the first thing you need to do, market research. If you watch any of my other videos, you know how much I preach this first step, because this first step is literally going to be the building foundations of what you do next. And if you get this wrong, then anything else you build will be wrong as well. So yeah, that's the first step. The second step is, once you have done your market research, you want to take all that information and come up with your offer. Now, an offer is not simply just saying like, hey, we'll do Facebook ads for you and we'll generate you 30 leads or your money back, right? That's a very, very basic offer. You want to kind of go deeper into it, right? So if you found out through your market research that people have tried Facebook ads in the past and they've worked with Facebook lead ad agencies and it never worked out for them, so you want to use that pain point or that problem within your offer. And then you want to also find out their dream outcomes. What do they actually want, right? Most people don't want leads. Most people just want clients, right? So if your target audience just wants clients, like high quality clients, then mention that in your offer as well. And then if you are doing Facebook ads, try not to say I'm doing Facebook ads. Try to make it interesting, right? You want to spark interest. You want to spark curiosity within your offer. So instead of Facebook ads, you want to tie in the dream outcome and kind of like come up with a system name for how you get your clients' results. So for example, like if I'm offering Facebook ads like for home improvement, right? And this is when I was running ads for my offer, for my home improvement offer. My offer would be like, we'll generate you 40 to 50 appointments every single month, plus 180 new opportunities with something that we call the marquee system. Now, what the marquee system does is ensure that you get high quality appointments into your calendar without you doing door-to-door sales, doing cold calling, doing any cold emails, and so forth, right? So that was an offer and it worked out pretty well for me. So this is how you want to structure it, is you want to say like, we will guarantee, and then you want to say the dream outcome. So what do they truly want? Like, what is their desire? We will guarantee to, I don't know, scale your business to 10K per month in the next, the time frame, give a time frame like 60 days, with something that we call, then you put your system name and all of this without, and then you want to state the problems of the past vehicles that they've tried, like without Facebook ads, without Google ads, or without you relying on like doing a bunch of cold calls, right? Or if we don't do that, then you will get your money back, or you can say we work on a pay and results basis. And on top of that, you will also get, so like 6 months of free support, 3 months of free work, whatever it is, right? So I'm just going to quickly put it up on the screen here because I feel like how I'm saying it is a bit confusing right now, but you should have the structure pop up on your screen right now. So come up with 5 offers to start off with. We want to test these 5 offers in our deployment systems. Now, what are deployment systems? Essentially, these are systems that are used to take your offer and present it to your target audience. And there's a bunch of different deployment systems, and there's new ones coming out literally every single month. But the ones I've always relied on, and I know never fail me, is cold emails, cold DMs, and cold calling, right? These are the 3 main ones, and they will never go away. No matter what anyone says, these will always stay as sort of the main deployment systems that are really, really good if you are just starting out. So choose one. You don't want to start doing all of them because that would just be confusing. Choose one and then learn everything there is to setting that system up, right? So if I chose cold emails, right, I would outline maybe the steps I need to take in order to set it up. And then for every single step, I would go into YouTube. I would join different communities. If there's free communities, I would join that. I would watch videos related to the deployment system, and I would learn every single thing there is to setting it up, like on the technical side of things, right? I know with cold emails, You usually have to just set up the sending accounts. You have to warm them up. Then you connect them to like Instantly or any other deployment software available for you. And then you find your lead list with Apollo or other lead softwares. And then you write out your email copy, which is mainly your offer. And then you start sort of sending out low volume at first to make sure your email accounts are properly warmed up. And then you start to scale once you find something that works. That's nutshell, like don't follow this exactly. I suggest you go do your own research on how to set up these deployment systems. So when it comes to deployment systems, it's all about testing, right? It's not like one thing is going to work and the other one doesn't work. They all work. They've all been proven to work by thousands of people in the past, including myself. So the way they work is simply by testing. Right, so this is why I asked you to do 5 offers, because you want to test 5 of these offers within your deployment system in order to see which offer clicks with your target audience. So if, like, let's say for example, my deployment system is like the cold emails, I set up my sending accounts and I have 5 campaigns. Each campaign has everything the same, right? The same email copy, the same follow-up sequence, the same subject lines, but the only variable I'm changing is the offer that I'm presenting. Right, so I'm going to run these 5 email campaigns. I'm going to make sure I give it enough time to collect my data. I want to make sure that I have the right sample size, so I'm sending it to 500 people to test out the offer, so 500 people each on each campaign. And then I let it run, and then after I've given it enough time to test, I'll come back, I'll read the metrics, so sort of my positive response rate, my appointment booking rate, my negative reply rate, and then I'll see which offer has been the closest to what I'm trying to thrive for in terms of my key performance indicators, my KPIs. So if I say, okay, for me to determine whether my offer is good, I need a 30% positive response rate, right? At least, or like, let's say 20%, 30% might be too high, but let's say 20%. And then I'll go into each campaign after they have been tested out and I gave it enough time. And then I'll look at my positive response rate for each campaign. I'm like, okay, campaign 1 done a 5% positive response rate with this offer. Campaign 2 might have done 15%, right? Close. Campaign 3 might have done 1%, right? It was horrible. Campaign 4, 5 done like, let's say 13%. Okay, so now I have my first step, right? I have my first hypothesis out of the way. Campaign 2 had a 15% positive response rate. This was the best one. So what I'm going to do is take campaign 2, see what I've done within that campaign, and then I'll create more hypotheses and tests in order to get closer to my positive response rate and in order to get appointments booked in through there, right? And this is how you basically test. And you keep doing that, you keep iterating until you find something that goes within your KPIs. And once you find something that goes within your KPIs, this is when you want to basically just scale the volume up. So let's say I'm sending out, as an example, like 5,000 emails on a monthly basis. And I find that my appointment booking rate is 1%. So I'm booking 1% of that. So that's probably like 50 calls. And now if I want to get 100 calls, all I have to do is take that same campaign that's bringing me the 1% appointment booking rates, and then I double the volume, meaning double the inputs that are going into it. So instead of sending it to 5,000 people, I now start reaching out to 10,000 people. And with that, if I maintain my sort of appointment booking rate at 1%, I'm looking to book in at least 100 calls or close to that, right? So this is how you scale. Now, talking about appointments, the next thing is sales. Obviously, if you're getting appointments but you're not closing them, there's literally no point in whatever you're doing. So you gotta get good at sales. And it took me a lot of time, a lot of different sales calls, a lot of hours learning, working with coaches and mentors in order to improve my own sales skills. And one thing I realized is sales is not really about you or what you do. It's about the prospect, right? It's about the person on the other side of the screen. And once you understand that, sales will become more natural for you. It's literally like having a conversation, being a therapist to your prospects and trying to find out their problems. Now, in order to get better at sales though, is you want to use books, right? Books, any courses, any programs that ever came out on sales all came from books. Books have the fundamental knowledge for sales. So I suggest you go pick up some books. The best book that really helped me out is Never Split the Difference. I think it's by Chris Voss, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, so that book talks about negotiation. It helped me a lot in my sales process. And the way I basically improve on my own sales is to create a feedback system. So I'd record all of my calls. On the weekends, I would set some hours apart to just watch all of my calls, and I'll have my notebook just like this here, and I'll be taking notes, critically analyzing myself and what I've done, what I did do right, what I did wrong, and then I'll just analyze, right? So I'll be like, okay, I said this, maybe I should say this instead, or I've done this, maybe I should have done this, or the prospect asked me this or said this and I didn't do this, right? So just critically analyze yourself as hard as possible, be your toughest teacher, and then on your next sales call, implement the feedback that you've given to yourself, right? So if you told yourself, okay, next call, I'm going to approach it with this angle, or next call, I'm going to approach it with that angle, right? So just implement the feedback that you've given to yourself, and trust me, over time, it's all going to compound and you're actually going to start closing deals for your business. So let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, the second thing that really helped me with sales is just learning humans and learning the psychology behind decision making. Now, decision making is simple. The reason why we make decision is to get out of our current situation and achieve our desired outcome. And now you got to understand, okay, so the current situation is this, and what do people feel when they are in a pretty bad current situation, right? What are the pains, the problems that come along with it? And then you got to think about, what are the dream outcomes, right? So what do they actually want? More money. What is more money going to do for them? More money is going to make sure that they, support their family, support their friends and family. They travel around and so forth, right? So dream outcomes. Okay, cool. So the person is essentially going to make a decision to alleviate their pains and problems in order to get their current desired situation faster. So now you got to understand, what is the psychology behind that, right? What's the psychology? And I suggest you start going into or diving deeper into heuristics. Now, heuristics are basically shortcuts made by our brain in order to process information that is coming in. Our brain burns a lot of calories throughout the day making decisions, so it needs to create heuristics in order to speed up the process or making it more effective. So I'm going to leave in the comments down below a codex that you can access and see all of the heuristics of the human mind. And these heuristics are basically responsible for how we process information. And for you to be able to understand how people process information is super important in order for you to then be able to help them make a decision, not make them a decision, but help them make a decision. That's the key to sales. So next thing, service delivery. So you got your appointments down, you got your sales down. Now what? Now we actually have to be good at what we promise our clients. So this is a big gap especially in the agency space, that everyone's focusing on how to get appointments, everyone's focusing on how to close high ticket deals, but no one really is talking about how to actually retain your clients forever. So the way I started with service delivery is I hired someone, a media buyer, to kind of work with me, but it's not like I would delegate everything to the media buyer. I would simply also just work alongside with him, right, and learn from him. Because when I first started out, I offered Facebook ads to e-commerce brands. Now, I probably did not know as much as I know now about Facebook ads, but back then, I knew I needed help, so I hired a media buyer, not to delegate anything to him, but to work alongside with him in order to understand how he runs Facebook ads, right? I want to understand my own service, and that's the key. You want to be able to be an expert in your own service. So I did that. I was working with him. I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos on Facebook ads. I was researching a lot, just basically gathering as much information as possible. And then I would basically implement the knowledge into my clients' accounts. I would be like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. How about we try this, right? And all of these things, what I noticed is that over time, I was able to kind of make this skill on autopilot, right? So if a client comes to me now and they want Facebook ads, I'll set them up in a couple of days and they'll start seeing results in a couple of days, right? Because all the information that I built up in the past is just sitting right here. And whenever you present an ads manager to me, I'll just go there. Okay, we need to do this, this, and this, and that. And then click. And I know these ads will get results because I've done this countless of times before. So my point with this is don't try to delegate service delivery when you first start out. Actually learn how to do everything, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to rely on media buyers or anyone else to provide good results for your clients. You want to be able to do that by yourself, and that's the key, right? So at the start, if you are offering like Facebook ads or a pretty complex service that you're not too sure about how to deliver, then get your first client. You can even charge them less at first to make it more fair. Then hire a media buyer. Tell the media buyer, listen, I don't want you to execute. I just want to work alongside with you, right? I'll still pay you, but I want to work alongside with you because I want to learn how to actually deliver the service as well. And then you work alongside with that. So the media buyer is basically just going to consult you. And then you study like your service, you study everything there is to it, like YouTube, bunch of free information, you use that to your advantage. Just study all of that. And then over time, you'll start to notice that things will become more automatic, right? Coming up with offers, more automatic. You will have a step-by-step process built within your brain to be able to perform the action. So this is the key. Service delivery, do it yourself. Don't outsource it. Don't get lazy with it. Do it yourself, because if you choose to ignore it at the start and you just hire someone and just throw everything to them, then later down the line it's going to get difficult for you. Right? So you want to always be an expert in your own service delivery. The second thing is client communication. That's a big one. A lot of agencies, what they do is they sign on a client and it's just like another number to them, right? Having good results is one thing. Having good client experience is another thing. And these two factors will be the reason why your clients stick with you for long periods of time or why they leave you straight away. Doesn't matter if you have them on 3 months retainer, no one cares about that anymore. What people care about is that you can deliver good results and you can provide a good client experience. So the way I would work with my clients is basically every Monday, send them an update, a Loom video, a text message of everything that happened over the past week, the results that we got, and what our action is for this week, the upcoming week. This was done in order to show them that we're actually being proactive, right? We're not just putting them in the back burner and not really doing anything, that we're actually being productive in managing their accounts. Second thing is I would have weekly calls, and then for the first month at least weekly calls, and then I'll switch over to bi-weekly calls, right? And these calls are super important because the first 10 minutes, yes, you might be talking about the ads manager or what you've done, but the other part of it is you actually are building relationships with the clients, because you got to remember they are people as well, right? And it's easier to keep a client for a long period of time if that client is also your friend. So just have the Monday updates, be proactive in communicating with them. Like I literally have my phone and I have my Slack messages. I don't mute them. I have my Slack messages, and anytime I get a Slack message, I pick up the phone, I answer to the client, I make sure everything is good. I don't keep it for tomorrow. I don't keep it till I'm back. Even if I'm out doing something else, I'll pick up my phone, answer the client. If there's a problem, I'll make sure I solve it before I move on to another thing, right? So this is the key to building up good relationships with your clients. Speaking about problems, like when you have a problem with your client, don't get lazy with it. Don't tell them like it's all a testing phase. Trust me, that's just not going to work out. You actually want to actively solve the problem. So I know I've mentioned this book for a lot of times throughout this video, but I like writing everything down. But yeah, when you have a problem, just write it down on paper, just like this, and then brainstorm solutions to that, right? So let's say problem right now, client A is not getting the results that they need. I'll write out the problem, and then I'll sit and I'll think, like, what can I do to solve this problem? Could I try this? Could I try that? Could I try this? Could I try that? And I just keep making a list of solutions, and then I'll actually execute on these solutions, because at least one of these solutions will fix the problem. That's the key. So use your brain, write down the problem, and write down a list of different solutions that you can implement. No matter how stupid they are, if they're stupid or if they sound dumb, then just still write them down. And just look at them and then think about the ones you could take an action on, and then actually take an action on it. Because whenever a client has a problem or they're not kind of getting the results they need, you don't want to like delay this or avoid the pain of solving the problem. You actually want to sit down in the morning. First priority is to solve the problem for the client, right? Because they're paying you money, right? If they're paying you money, you have to bring the service back to them. You need to be the problem solver for them, right? So that's the key. So yeah, this has been sort of like what I would do in order to get to 10K per month. And to summarize everything that I've talked about is simply market research, come up with offers, take these offers, build a deployment system, research everything there is to that deployment system, and actually learn how to build it out, and then start testing. You want to first test your offer and then any other things, right? You want to first find what offer will work within your market. Once you find it, and once you are within your KPIs, like a 1% appointment booking rate and a 20% positive response rate, scale it with volume. The next thing is sales. So you're getting appointments in, that's great, but they're useless if you're not closing them. So start recording all your calls, creating a feedback loop, implementing your feedback onto the next sales call, studying human psychology, and reading books about sales. And the last thing is service delivery, right? Be proactive in working with your clients, right? Don't just focus on them for the first month and then just leave them. Always be on top of things. Reply quick, be proactive in communicating with them with Monday Loom updates. Have weekly calls in the first month and then bi-weekly calls after that, and then focus on becoming friends with your clients. So yeah, these are the 4 steps that I would take in order to hit 10K per month. So I hope this video helped you. If you do want a more detailed breakdown of everything that I've talked about, make sure to check out my video of how I was able to scale my new offer with my agency to 25K per month in just 60 days. I break down exactly what I did in order to do that. The link will be in the description, so go ahead, make sure you check that out. And I also do have a free community if you'd be interested in that. The link will be in the description as well. Make sure to join that, say hi to me, engage with the community. It's a free community, and the free training will also be out very soon. So yeah, apart from that, leave a like, subscribe if you want to, comment down below any questions you might have about this video, and I will see you on the next one.